Hey everybody, it's Amrita Krana with the Falcon Group at Keller Williams. Wanted to talk to you about interest rates. So you've heard me say date the rate, marry the house, date the rate. So what I mean by that is, and just to give you a little bit more context, rates are going up. We all know they've been going up. They're going to continue to go up again by the end of the year. And the Fed is really trying to do that to control inflation. So once inflation does get somewhat under control, it's already been impacted. The rates have gone up. The inflation has been impacted by that. They're going to continue. I think they're going to do one more shot of raising it this year to hopefully make a greater impact. But once that happens and the market simmers down a little bit, not tank, but simmer down, the rates will drop at some point next year. They might not drop drastically. They'll, come down a little bit at a time. But the problem that will persist that you need to keep in the back of your head is that inventory is tight. It is tight now. It was tight before. It was incredibly tight before. There's a little bit more inventory now, but that inventory is not necessarily an influx. So there's still a huge group of buyers that didn't get what they needed back in COVID when the inventory was ridiculously tight. Those buyers are still here. They're still here looking for the property. So the demand, because everything goes back to supply and demand. If the supply is not there and the demand is there, despite what the rates are, we're still going to see activity on the market. We're still going to see houses being sold. And the reality is, if you're thinking, oh, I'm going to wait until the rates drop, that's not going to work, because when the rates drop, the influx of buyers might even be greater, because by that time, there will be a new subset of buyers coming into the market. Reality is there's buyers coming into the market every single day. Every single day, the market changes. Some buyers exit because they bought something and secured something. Other buyers are entering into the market. So you may think that you'll have a better chance, or you'll be in a better buying power position if the rates drop. But remember, if that's the case, there'll be an influx of buyers, and then you'll have more competition. So don't necessarily wait for the rates to drop, wait for the market to change, because the changes we are expecting are not going to be drastic. So with that said, if the homes are priced properly, they're going to go. The demand is there, the supply is not. That problem will continue to persist whether the rates are high or low. So that's just food for thought. If you want to talk more, I'm happy to talk about it and answer any questions. But it's a weird market. It's got a lot of contention because a lot of it is not making sense. But if you step back and look at it from a bird's eye view, it does start to make sense that, okay, yes, it is supply and demand. And that's still a relevant problem despite what's happening with the interest rates, despite the buying power. Yes, a person who could have afforded to buy a $900,000 house or $800,000 house is really now in the market for $700,000 or a little bit around that, So there's some shifting that's happening, and we are, in fact, in a very shifting market. So there's no question about that. But what does that mean as a buyer and a seller? It's tricky. So that's my 2 cents. If you're a buyer, don't necessarily wait for the rates to drop, because 1, they're not going to drop that significantly. 2, there's going to be more buyers you're going to deal with when you're competing for that house. So if you find the house and the numbers, you can make the numbers work, even if it's for the first 3, 4, 5 years, do it, because you can always refinance. And you might end up refinancing like a year into it because the rates drop, and you can take advantage of that. But I'll tell you, I'm not preaching anything I'm not doing. As an investor, we obviously have a home we live in, which is fine, but we're buyers. I am a buyer. I am out in the market. We are under contract at the current market rates because the numbers work. And I tell myself, okay, well, that's a rate. It sucks. I don't like it, but I don't have to like it. I don't have to love it. It needs to be there for now to get me through closing and to be able to get what I want. And then I'll refi. No big deal. So I'm telling you exactly what I'm doing as well. So I'm not saying something that I would never do. You know what I mean? I think that's one of the key things that people question. Well, you're not in my situation and you don't know, like you don't want to buy when rates are low. You wouldn't do that. And the reality is I would, and I am. So that's it. Have a great day, guys. Bye.